You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. You know, the Rebelpreneur journey is hard. It's not easy. And a lot of people are afraid to take that step. They lack the confidence to really put themselves out there and to go all in their business. But success in business as well as in life really depends upon you being 100% committed and being all in. Today's guest is an expert on helping you get all in, 100% committed to your business and to your life. Theresa Stanley is a 6th degree black belt and director of the Phoenix Taekwondo Club in Edmonton. She is the marketing talent behind Phoenix, and with her fierce leadership, Phoenix boasts 9 locations in Edmonton with 800 athletes. 2019 marked the launch of her Girls on Fire Confidence Conference, an event dedicated to mentoring young girls. Well, Theresa Stanley, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Really excited. I don't think I've ever interviewed a 6th degree black belt before, or any degree black belt. This is really a treat.
You're very welcome. It's, we're pretty rare, so it wouldn't surprise me that I'm the first.
Well, how did you get started in martial arts? What's your background?
Well, I actually started when I was 12, and it was a confidence builder for me. My mom believed in the confidence that could be built in martial arts, and so I kind of got dragged there, and she basically said, "Kate, you're in now." And I went in, and I just kind of followed along for a bit. And then when I got into my first competition, pretty early on in my levels, I kind of, that was it. And I was all in from there. And now here I am 20 years later, 6th degree black belt. And that was
it. Well, you make it sound simple. I know that there was a lot of hard work and a lot of obstacles that you had to overcome. And so being all in is our theme. You really went for it. And you actually had someone pushing you, your mother in this case, pushing you into a place that was kind of uncomfortable, and you learned to overcome that discomfort.
Absolutely. And, part of being all in is just kind of almost being in the moment as well. And it does help when you have somebody who's kind of, there as your cheerleader and then your support, but also pushing you when you really don't want to be there, right? So I know once I got, over that initial fear, and my mom continued to support, but then just having myself surrounded by not only my coaches, but with my fellow athletes, and just building the confidence and building and their belief in me really helped me be all in. And, training for different levels of black belt, training for competitions all over the world, you have to be so focused. And I think that really reflects into business as well as being all in. You have to, I don't know how else to say it. You just have to be so in the game and in the moment and in the present. And that's where I think the biggest successes come from.
Well, it's as much and probably even more mental than it is anything else. This idea of being focused, being in the moment, being mindful. And I'm saying it's necessary for business and for life if we want to be successful in both.
Oh, absolutely. And mindset's the initial one. And there's a lot of work that's done on mindset in the martial arts as a kind of a general thing. And, we have to work on that before any of that physical stuff is. So for example, when I go into the ring, I actually do more mental preparation and visualization so that I can be all in the moment. And then everything that my physical body has trained kind of just answers on its own. Like, there is the physical work that goes with it, but if my head is not there, everything will collapse from there. And I think that's so reflective in anything that we pursue in life, whether that be, bigger business opportunities, growing our business, but also just like how we work inside our business. I find that when business and entrepreneurs in particular aren't, they have one foot in and one foot out, they really can't, find those successes the way that they want to, because they're not for sure all in and doing the things that they need to do, right? Because they won't do it if that one foot's sticking out.
Absolutely. Yeah, that does make sense. And that's really, really great wisdom for business. And, when you are hitting someone, striking someone in either a martial arts competition or in a life and death defense of yourself, you can't hit them halfway, can you?
Absolutely not, right? It's got to be, you got to be focused. And yeah, in self-defense, you have to be ready for that, right? And it's not, your mental preparation, but also your physical, and you have to go all the way. In competition, I found in previous years, like in different ones that I've been to, the ones that I've been really, really successful in, my heart was committed, my head was committed, and then my body followed. Whereas if I was in a competition and I was kind of half training, but also half thinking about other things at the same time, whether that be coaching other athletes or, was focused on, the politics of sports and so on, my end result was never as successful as it could have been.
Very powerful. Now, I think a lot of people may assume that if you're a 6th degree black belt, you've kind of arrived and you don't really have to train. You've already mastered your mindset. What it sounds like you're saying is that you are training all the time, and that's what makes you a master and keeps you a master of martial arts as well as in business.
Oh, absolutely. I always want to train or feel like a student. If you stop learning, then you go stagnant. And it's something that is quite prevalent in the martial arts world, where people just they get the rank and then they just walk around with the rank, but they can't back it up, right? And so for me, my philosophy and the philosophy that I teach my students is, we always want to have that strive for more knowledge. There is no perfection. There's no end game. We always want to be trying to do something to make ourselves better. Because when we stop getting better, we just we go downhill, really. And so when I go into the life lessons and the confidence building for my students, I'm like, every time you go towards something that, is new, or run towards something that maybe you're fearing or that makes you nervous, that's good. That makes you grow. That's how we grow. And that's how we get more confidence.
Wow. Let's talk about your students, because you are specifically working with girls of a certain age to mentor them and really build not just martial arts skills, but life skills and confidence and overcoming fear. Tell us a little bit about who you work with and how you work with them.
Well, the Girls on Fire program was really geared to the younger girls. So like the 8 years old to about 12, 13. And I found that there was a missing market, or a missing service in that market. Because a lot of the empowerment stuff I see trending is all about women's empowerment, or like teen empowerment, the high school girls, where these young ladies who are still technically maybe in elementary or primary school aren't getting that stuff yet. But in stories that I've heard, 8 and 9-year-old girls are having these big world problems, such as even into eating disorders and just a serious lack of confidence. And I said, how can these precious little children, 8 years old, have these big world problems? And so I decided that was enough of that, and we're going to do something about it. And what we're doing is we're implementing not only combat and self-defense, because I think there's something really powerful about knowing that you can protect yourself if you need to, but also teaching them how to have a mindset of success, how they can do little things and have a little toolkit to kind of navigate that grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, and the things that come up, like bullying and the different kinds of bullying, and how to be safe online, because kids are going to, they're going to Snapchat, they're going to do this stuff on the internet, and we want them to go in there empowered so that they can navigate it with confidence. So that's really where it all stemmed from.
Very, very important, very critical. And a lot of what you're talking about, Theresa, really overlaps with my professional and my academic interest in cyberbullying and how do we create resilience in kids so that they are able to handle themselves in these situations. So lots of important distinctions you're making there. And I think they translate very well into the business arena because you're not just mentoring young girls and teaching them life skills and confidence. You're also the marketing talent behind an enterprise that has 9 locations and 800 athletes. Where did you learn to do that?
Well, I graduated from the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology with a degree in marketing. So I did 4 years of formal schooling for it. And it's interesting because I graduated from that program in 2012. And the marketing, as you know, and online marketing has exploded since that. And I remember my final project, my keystone was how Facebook just started using, for business and such, right? And it was like such a big deal that we could now track people through Facebook and their behaviors. And so as I continued to work through that, I was able to implement a lot of that stuff into the Phoenix Taekwondo clubs and the business. And I'm kind of a nerd. I think it's really exciting that we can share our services and, do all these things via the internet that people 20 years ago had no concept of, like that even being able to happen. And so part of managing the 9 schools and being the marketing person is going back to that thing of being all in and waking up in the morning and just being like, how can I serve my students better today? How can I reach the community better today? How can I communicate with them in just a really cool way? So again, a lot of our stuff is online. I love everything to do with YouTube and social media. I just think it's super fun to get out and communicate with not only my own students, but the world and just have like a good time with it. So I guess it's me a little bit nerding out, but I love connecting with people.
Yeah. So important with marketing. So, and that leads me into the next question here is we're talking about being all in business, all in life. And I guess another way to say it is leave it all on the field. And you've got to be in it to win it and all of these sayings. And it seems like a simple concept, but what is the biggest thing that's holding us back? Why is it so hard for people to commit and to be all in and to be present and to be 100% at whatever it is that they're doing? Is there a common obstacle you see over and over again that prevents us from being all in?
It's interesting that you asked that because I just finished a few months ago in my book club, a book called The Big Leap. And I can't remember the author's name at the moment, but he talks a lot about limiting beliefs, just little things that hold us back, that, we just have these innate things that we believe about our personal paradigms, our business paradigms that really are things that we've just made up in our head. And so I think one of the biggest things is just a lack of belief in ourselves or a lack of belief that things can happen. And so that could lead into a lack of confidence as well. And so what I see in fellow entrepreneurs, or even I've had to work on in myself, is that, I'm enough to do this. I'm good enough. I have the information available to me just as much as the next guy. And I'm good enough and strong enough and cool enough and smart enough to take this on. Sometimes I think that we almost, as business people, belittle how good we actually are. And so it's just coming back to that and saying, you know what? No, I am awesome. And I can totally do this, XYZ, whatever the project is.
I love that. And that's a real challenge, I think, for people, perhaps because of fear of past failures, fear of putting themselves out there. So what can we begin to do as we're listening to Theresa Stanley, 6th degree black belt, master of the mindset, and mentor of young girls everywhere? What can we take away from your philosophy and apply to our life and our business that would help us to be all in and to really not just affirm it, but to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am enough and I've got this and I can do this?
Well, action steps. First of all, you have to the confidence and knowing that you're enough comes from action steps. And so even if it's something small like booking, a call with somebody that is on your, oh, that person would be amazing to work with list, or even smaller than that, I don't know, Googling a class that would help you go towards your goals. Just those small little action steps are basically putting your money where your mouth is and going all in. And it doesn't have to be big, especially if we're practicing being all in, but that movement forward is going to help us get out of that rut and get us propelled into success.
I love that. So you've got to have some kind of a movement. Nothing happens with you just standing still. Even if you're going in the wrong direction, it's easier to turn if you're in movement than it is to try and do anything standing still. So I think that's a great way of thinking about business and life and success in general. To be all in, it doesn't mean jumping off of a cliff, but it can be very, very small but action-oriented things that you can do right now to get you moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. And then from there, you'll build your confidence. And then suddenly there's something called, what I think Darren Hardy calls it, the big momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So movement leads to momentum.
Absolutely.
So what are you working on right now, Theresa? You've got some great ideas. I love your philosophy and your attitude. I think it needs to, frankly, be all over the place. I think girls especially, you mentioned some of the problems and the challenges that younger girls are facing today, and it's just incredible, the world that we live in. Lots of challenges, but also lots of opportunities. What are you working on right now that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I have kind of two massive projects that are kind of on the go right now. For Phoenix Taekwondo Clubs, we're in the middle of expanding our gyms, and so that's taking up a lot of my day-to-day life, and we're expanding from 5,000 square feet to 8,500 square feet, so that's really exciting. But our Girls on Fire program is expanding, and our second annual conference is going to be happening in May here in Edmonton, Alberta, and we're it's interesting because the whole thing started kind of on a whim. Like I had this heart, a pull from the universe or whatever you want to say, that I had to do it. And then now we went through it and we did our first big conference. And now I'm already starting to put the feelers out for the second one. And already I have people like, how can I be part of this? I want to help girls too. I think, I want to be part of your movement. And so I'm really excited that the movement is starting to go, and we're hoping that in 2021, we're not only going to have one in Edmonton, but we're going to have one in Calgary. And then I'd love to come see you guys down in the U.S. and start one maybe in Las Vegas. That's one of my favorite places in the U.S. So
absolutely,
that's kind of the projects. Yeah.
That is exciting. And so you are exemplifying exactly what you're talking about: action steps, movement that begins to build momentum, and you're doing it with over 800 athletes and still growing. So this has really been a treat. It's been an encouragement. I'm motivated to go out there and be all in my business and everything else that I've got going on. So I really appreciate you being on the show. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Well, you know what? Again, take that step is the biggest thing. Even if it's a little step, it doesn't even have to be about business. If you're somebody listening who's just has a situation, and you feel stuck, like I have a book that I'm just reading right now. It's called Everything is Figure-Outable by Marie Forleo. And if you go in there and you say, it's figure-outable, and you just put it out there, then you're going to be able to see, okay, I can do this today. And that will start moving you towards being that all in. So it sounds kind of funny, but honestly, it's helped me so much. And, again, momentum is big, right?
What a great title. Everything is figure-outable. Is that it? Yes.
It's so funny. Marie Forleo, she's a good one. If you ever follow, she has a YouTube blog called Marie TV, and she's just so funny. And she coined that phrase, and I was just like, wow, that is so easy, but it so helps you kind of be all in and get that confidence and just know that, the universe is on your side.
I love that. Well, that has really been motivational, I think. I'm motivated to go out there and be all in my business. I think our listeners will be as well. Theresa Stanley is a 6th degree black belt and director of the Phoenix Taekwondo Club in Edmonton, Canada. You can find out more at phoenixtaekwon-do.ca, and I will make sure we get that link posted on the Rebelpreneur website, so you can just click right through and see all the good work that Theresa and her associates are doing there at Phoenix Taekwondo Club. Theresa, thank you so much for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today and sharing your wisdom with us. Best wishes and good success to you and everything that you're doing to help young girls.
Thanks, Ralph.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.